but it's now in the New Yorker as well. We'll take your calls on whatever you want to speak to us about. 0800 030 4455. On the text 81333, just put North at the front of your message. And if you fancy popping me an email, it's annabelle@bbc.co.uk.
Annabelle Amos and Breakfast. BBC Radio Northampton.
We've also been talking this morning about, well, a pretty difficult topic, I have to say, the death of an unborn or newborn baby. Clearly devastating for anyone who's ever experienced it, but I suppose also rarely talked about. A group of men from the county are trying to change that through the power of football. This is Sands United FC, which is based in Brixworth. It's made up entirely of local men who have that one horrible thing in common. We sent Graham McKechnie to speak to Rob, Nick and Leon from the team. You normally hear Graham talking about sport, but as always, there is a life behind the voice you hear on the radio, and Graham and his wife lost a baby to stillbirth a few years ago. He was happy to share his experience while speaking to Leon, Rob and Nick, who told him that he and his wife went on to have a baby boy after losing their daughter.
So Harry's turning in to 4 in March. Yeah. We've come out the other side and I would not change.
So that's helpful, isn't it, for everyone else in the group? That, you know, I mean, I remember that being so important, that you knew there was a happy ending.
Yeah, there's a happy ending, and it's just little things that I get to do, and I think the lads get to see us do. Just for example, bringing Harry training tonight, they get to see him come and kick a ball around with the other lads that have brought their kids, and hearing about us going on days out, going to watch the Cobblers, going to watch football, bring them to the games on Sunday.
You don't want to take them to the Cobblers, see?
No, we do. We want to take them to Cobblers, and I think the lads see that is there, and that will happen.
Yeah, and you two. Well, you're going through a different type of purgatory now, aren't you? Because you're both waiting. Rob, when are you due?
So we're officially due 14th of January, but we're allowed to go in 3 weeks early, so that puts us Christmas Eve.
Brilliant.
So hopefully a lovely Christmas present, and I use the word hopefully because before
you take nothing for granted.
No, exactly, not anymore. No, 'cause before we lost Neve, I've got 2 children already. And you kind of, the word I use is blissfully ignorant. Yeah. You don't know what's going on in the world. You just, whenever anyone I have ever known up until my losing Neve, you fall pregnant, you do the test, you go and see the doctor at 12 weeks, you go at 20 weeks, and then you go and see them and you bring your baby home. And then you're introduced to a completely different world that you would never want anyone to experience. And now, like you say, it's tenterhooks for 9 months, and you're constantly like, everyone's like, yeah, but you're excited, and you're like, yeah.
You can't really afford to be, can you?
In my mind, I'm excited, but once the baby's here and everything's fine, then that's when the journey kind of starts. But at the same time, it's a shame because there's so many nice moments through pregnancy that we now don't get to enjoy as much. You try to take advantage of every moment, because again, we've experienced that you might get 4 days, 3 days, 2 days a week, a month from the end, and you might not get what you wanted. So you still got to try and enjoy the journey.
But I do think it makes you all the more appreciative. I really do. Yeah. Leon, you've got even less time to wait, haven't you?
Yeah. So, like Rob, we're going to be induced early. We're officially due on the 20th of November, but my partner's being induced on the 30th of this month. So Halloween baby. I've already been told that I'm on birthday duties because I'm the creative one out of the two of us.
And how are you doing? How are your nerves?
My nerves are terrible, I'm not going to lie, I'm all over the place. It's really hard for us right now because with our story, we lost our son Nolan at 35 weeks. Like I was talking to you earlier before we was recording. We just went to sleep one day, everything was perfectly fine, everything was great, woke up the next day and then our whole world's changed. It is nail-biting, it's terrifying, but the support we're getting through Northampton General is amazing. My partner at one point in the pregnancy was on daily checks because she was worried about reduced movements. They've encouraged her to go in no matter what, because quite a lot of women feel like they're pestering or they're like wasting time because they go in and they feel a bit silly, but they really understand. They're like, no, they encourage, they want you to go in. Doesn't matter if you're in for a day, if you're in for a night or just 20 minutes. Like, it's really important to us, and to have that support as well.
For you personally?
The lads have helped. The lads have helped quite a lot, because there was a point in the pregnancy where we had a massive scare, and my partner ended up in hospital, admitted in hospital for a few days, and I actually got told off by my partner because I was on the phone most of the time, or my phone was pinging all the time, and all it was just the lads messaging me going, "Oh, is you right? Do you want anything? Do you need anything?" One of the lads had his baby, his rainbow baby, whilst we was in there, and he messaged me going, "Oh, I'm going to go shop. Do you want anything?" And to me, that was really like amazing, because like the fact that he can think of someone else in that moment when he's just had his child, like after he's gone through that tragic event, like is amazing that you can still think of someone else.
It's the amazing stories of Leon, Rob and Nick speaking to Graham, and Graham is with me, and the good news that we should talk about, Graham, is that Leon that we were hearing from then, who was pretty anxious, as you would understand, through his partner's pregnancy, they have now had a baby.
Yes, congratulations, Leon. Great news. It's always really important when you are in the situation of having had a stillbirth. It's always really important to hear about the happy endings, which usually come. So congratulations, Leon. It's it's great news. I could see how anxious he was when I met him, so I'm really, really pleased about it.
And he mentioned rainbow baby. I'd not heard that term before.
No, nor had I. That was new to me, but that's what they talk about. So that's the subsequent baby's arrival after a stillbirth. But no, it is an unbelievably anxious time for anyone who's been through it, because I remember the consultants saying to us that it's like someone who's been in a car accident being asked to get back in the same car and drive down the same street. You're constantly, you cannot escape constantly drawing comparisons with what had gone on before. So yeah, but you get through it. That's the most important thing.
And I suppose also what is so good about this group of men that are doing this in a football club is, you can hear it from consultants as often as you want, but hearing it from someone who's been through it is probably more important to you, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what makes this group so impressive. And I said this to you earlier, didn't I? That I just came away just so impressed and so proud of this group of young men who would absolutely not necessarily certainly when I was growing up, had been inclined to talk about this sort of stuff. And we're entering November now, and Movember, and a big part of that is about mental health of men and getting them to talk. It was so encouraging to see that's exactly what this group, by themselves, have worked out is what they need to do.
Yeah, amazing stuff. Graham, thank you. That's Sands United FC, and congratulations again to Leon, who him and his wife had a baby boy the other day.
Is BBC Radio Northampton.
We start with something that is, when all said and done, a parent's worst nightmare. Losing a baby is clearly devastating for anybody who's ever experienced it. But rarely is it something that is talked about. Now, though, here in Northamptonshire, a group of men are leading the way in changing that through the power of sport, and in particular, football. Sands United FC is based in Brixworth. It's made up entirely of local men who have that one terrible thing in common. They too have lost a baby. Nick, Rob and Leon are all part of the same squad.
Whenever you see maybe an article by somebody or about somebody, it normally focuses on the mother and what she's been through, and dad never normally gets mentioned. And I think from my point of view, my opinion would be that is inbuilt from previous generations. Stiff upper lip, no emotions, get up and get on with it, which is why we've got so many men that don't talk. I went, and there's guys that I was sat with. One of them was 10 years ago, one was 5 years ago, one was 2 years ago. And yes, we talked about our children, but at the same time, we still managed to have a laugh and a joke. And it was being able to see people at different stages and know that, yes, you never forget about it, but you can still find some kind of enjoyment in life as well at the same time. It doesn't have to take you down a path which is unrecoverable.
It took a toll on her, and I was trying to take that pressure away as well. And looking back at it, I'm a kind of person that would always put my feelings aside to support someone else. But since I've come to this group, it's something that I've learned is that we hurt too. And I didn't really feel that at that time, because my hurt was kind of put to the side to help Sarah.
with the football team, it's not like you got the sympathy or you're going to come and we're going to be like, oh mate, and that. It's more, you're going to come and you're going to be treated like a normal person. So probably for most of us here and involved in the team, one of the hardest things for us was probably going back to work, because how can you continue being your normal self or who you was before this tragic event happened to you?
So that's Nick, Rob and Leon, all in the same team, Sands United FC, based in Brixworth. Joining me on the phone now is Erica Stewart. Erica is from the charity Sands. It's the stillbirth and neonatal death charity, which we have spoken to in the past. Erica, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you put into context the sort of numbers of people that are affected by stillbirth and neonatal death in this day and age?
Yeah, it's actually 15 babies die every day before, during or shortly after birth, and actually it's every 90 minutes, which is the length of a football game.
What sort of pressure does that put on SANDS as an organisation to provide support? Because I guess that people find you rather than you being able to reach out to them.
Yes, yeah, they do find us, and hopefully, the hospital will let them know about us, and they can also find us online. Well, we've got a very strong helpline team, and we've got people can contact that by phone or email. We also have an online community, and recently we have launched our bereavement support app. So, I think that, we're coping with that fine, and we're a very unique charity.
We heard Rob, Nick and Leon talking very openly about the reality of having lost a baby, but also the reality of getting back in the saddle again, and this football team helping them to do that. How often is it that men find themselves perhaps marginalised when it comes to the loss of a baby, because people will tend, perhaps naturally enough, to concentrate on the mother in such circumstances?
Yeah, that's very true. I think dad's grief is very much underestimated and overlooked. And as a society, I think we expect men to be strong and supportive, and many men assume that role. So I think that's something like that one of the dads just said then, it's generations ago, it's that stiff upper lip and men don't cry.
So how far is this football club, Sands United FC, how far is that aimed at dealing with the needs of the squad themselves, and how much of it is actually an icebreaker for others to come forward who might have had similar experiences?
Oh, I think it's a huge icebreaker, and it's so lovely that these dads have got together to, have a network of support for each other, because I think that men, you can say that they grieve differently, but I think it's important not to make assumptions, and there is a lot of focus on the mum, and often dads put their grief on hold because they're focusing on the mum. So I think this is so important, and it's really refreshing to see these dads get together and, helping each other.
What do you see when the team plays? Have you seen the squad in action?
I've seen some clips of them in action, and I think it's so heartening that they've got the names of their babies on their vests, and they're doing it in memory of their babies that have died. And I think that's, really good to raise awareness that dads grieve too.
So as Sands, not everybody can play football. I've got 2 left feet, certainly. But as Sands, would you encourage other sporting endeavour? Would you welcome a Sands cricket team or a Sands rugby team or
absolutely
snooker or something like that? Any kind of sport?
Any kind of sport, absolutely. And it's a way of channeling their grief and breaking the silence around stillbirth and neonatal death.
Breaking the silence is clearly the first thing. We said that people reach out to you. How do people find you, Erica?
Well, they can find us. Most people have got smartphones now, so they can find us online. They can just find us online. We've got the bereavement support app, and like I say, a lot of hospitals will refer bereaved parents to us. So, we're here, and a lot of parents nowadays are contacting us a lot sooner after their babies died, compared to when I started working at SANS in the mid-90s. It was quite hard for people to find us, but now, we're there. If you just Google the death of a baby, I think SANS comes up at the top. So it's really good that parents can access the support, whether it's recent or long ago.
Healing the hurt through having a bit of a kickabout. And if the men can do it, why not a ladies' football team as well? We do live in enlightened ages. Erica, good to talk to you. Thanks for taking your time this afternoon.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Erica Stewart from SANS. And if you've been affected by what you've heard, you can find SANS, as Erica was saying. Why not get involved in football? They call it the beautiful game. Perhaps it could be a beautiful healer too.
This is BBC Radio Northampton.
And these